Am I the antagonist for arguing with a neighbor about them ruining our grass and bushes? I live in a new condominium building where we have our own piece of land for flower gardening, and part of that land is covered with grass and decorative bushes. This little grass area with bushes is situated between our condominium building, our parking spaces, and the neighboring condominium building with their grassland and parking spaces. Our condominium building homeowners association is paying monthly for that grass, lawn, and flowers maintenance. So the issue is that I noticed that on our part of the land some bushes are now broken, and there are a lot of empty spots where grass no longer is growing, because someone was walking from the neighbor's condominium building side towards our parking spaces. Then I noticed that indeed every morning a lot of neighbors from the neighboring building one by one would just walk on that grass field when there is a concrete road existing parallel to that grass field. I wrote a complaint in our Facebook condominium group saying, "Hey, we have a problem. Every day someone is walking on our grass lawn. We should do something about it." I offered to put some decorative fence, maybe 0.5 meters high. Someone else offered to put some more bushes. And then there's this lady commenting on my post, saying that we should give all the neighbors the opportunity to walk where they want to walk because it is a much convenient or shorter walk distance between the main road and the building, and that we should put a concrete road on that grass lawn. I figured that the main people who are walking on that lawn are from the neighbor's condominium building. I replied to that lady saying, "Hey, we do not need unnecessary people traffic because we are too close to the main road. This will attract even more people to our parking spaces who are not supposed to walk there or be there. And there might be situations when people would try to drive through on that concrete road bypassing our parking gates and park without a permit, for example." Then the lady replies that I am a bad neighbor for not letting them walk on that grass. Also, it turns out that that lady is exactly from that neighboring condominium building. I don't know who gave her access to our group. In the end, I replied to her that our homeowners association meeting will decide what we should do with this problem, but not her, because this is our condominium building land, and she is not part of our homeowners association condominium building. Now I kind of feel bad for making that post, and at the same time, I'm thinking why should that concrete road have to be made only because she said so? But luckily we have to vote before we do anything, and this lady keeps commenting on my posts endlessly. It feels like she wants to be the one who has the last word, making her be in the right position, or giving the right answer to our homeowners association condominium members. It sounds like a tricky situation with the neighboring building's residents using your grassy area as a shortcut, but it's important to prioritize the well-being of your own condo community. While it's good to consider different perspectives, ultimately it's up to your homeowners association to decide on the best course of action for your shared space. Don't let one person's comments sway the decision-making process. Am I the antagonist for feeling offended by feeling bullied by my girlfriend's friends? I, 25-year-old male, recently went to a wedding in another state with my girlfriend, 26-year-old female. While there, I spent considerable time with my girlfriend's best friend, Eve. I've met her a couple of times and thought she was lovely, albeit sometimes a bit mean-saucy about people behind their back. I was under the impression she liked me too, and we were forming a friendship. Eve also brought her partner, Adam, to the wedding, who I met for the first time. I don't want to go into details, but I said something that really offended Adam at some point. I was ignorant of this and continued carrying on like we were all friends and really enjoying their company. Turns out Adam and Eve formed a game about me and would say an expression every time I said something that they didn't like and laugh about it. After a couple of drinks one night, I caught on to this and asked about the game, and they described what I have above. It took me by surprise because I thought these people actually liked me and I was enjoying their company. I got offended that they didn't confront me about the issue and instead were mocking me behind my back. It all felt very high school bullying behavior. When I confronted them about this game, they said it was in direct retaliation for what I had said that offended Adam, and this justified their action. This upset me further because I felt terrible that I had offended Adam and apologized without reservation. But I was also really hurt that rather than trying to address the issue, they just thought of me as an asshole beyond repentance and decided to make fun of me behind my back instead. I really just want to forget about this whole experience and move past it, to be honest, but I can't get over how mean bully-like their behavior was. I feel like they never gave me a chance, and I'll always be a villain in their eyes. This upsets me because I love my girlfriend, and Eve means so much to her. I don't know what to do and feel like trying to talk through these issues will only result in me becoming defensive and wanting an apology for their behavior. So, am I the asshole? Any advice, support, criticism, opinion would be much appreciated. Sorry for grammar spelling, English is my second language, also a throwaway account. It sounds like you were caught off guard by their behavior, and it's understandable that you felt hurt and confused in this situation. It's important to communicate openly with them about how their actions made you feel, but also consider the possibility of moving forward without dwelling too much on this incident. In the end, focusing on your relationship with your girlfriend and addressing any unresolved feelings within yourself might be the best way to handle this. Am I the antagonist for asking my roommate for my bench back that I had to leave for a bit when I moved out? I moved out of my apartment where I sublet for 2 years about a month ago. I had discussed with my roommate, who I subleased from, that I would not be taking my desk and that the new roommate could have it if they wanted it, and it was a part of the Facebook listing for the room. There was also a bench and chair that I had made arrangements with friends to come get after I had already left. I was moving out of state, and they couldn't fit in my car. Chair was picked up, but the bench wasn't going to be able to be picked up for a few weeks as my friend was out of the country, but the roommate understood that, at the time. When I texted asking if anyone would be home so that my friend could finally pick up my bench, I was met with deference as, so much time has passed. I can't ask the new roommate on such short notice, and from the new roomie, I need more of a heads up since I'm using it. Also that I had apparently left it with no intention of picking it up. I had multiple friends who knew I was coming back as well as text threads with friends if they would be able to pick it up, but that my friend could come pick up the desk. While it had been a few weeks since I had moved out and had thought it could be picked up by, I had also not anticipated my roommate giving it to the new roommate, or that it would even be an issue, as is a small 3-foot IKEA wooden bench that I was attached to. I hadn't even said anything about the delay in getting my security deposit back, about 45 days after I moved out. I was able to have my friend pick it up last week after speaking directly to the new roommate and arranging ample time for her to move her stuff. She then sent a link with another bench as we had spoken about me helping her find a replacement. I had assumed that meant find a similar option. When I never responded, as she expected me to spend $75 on a bench for her, she sent a whole paragraph about how inconvenienced she was by this, and if I wasn't going to help her that I just needed to let her know. I responded back that this whole thing was a miscommunication, and that I didn't feel as if I was responsible for replacing something that wasn't supposed to be hers in the first place. She then responded back that it was unfair that she was told it was up for grabs, and suddenly taken away, and it was unfair that I had used her room for storage, and that it's wild for her to have to replace the whole thing on her own. She then called me extremely rude and inconsiderate to leave her hanging like this. I understand being told one thing and something else happens, but the original gangster roommate misunderstood, and now I am getting heat for this. Am I the asshole for just wanting my bench back? It sounds like there was a miscommunication with the bench situation, but ultimately, it was agreed upon that your friend would come pick it up at a later time. You're not in the wrong for wanting your belongings back, especially since you had arranged for its retrieval. The misunderstanding with the new roommate is unfortunate, but it doesn't make you the asshole in this situation. Am I the antagonist for yelling at my friend after they added me to a GC on Snapchat? I, 16 years old female, was added to a group chat on Snapchat by my friend, 15 years old female, that I will call Maddie, fake names. This group chat had several other people, about 64, I don't know, called white people. Add white people. I talked to some people in there for a bit, but inevitably it started blowing up my phone, so I put it on Do Not Disturb. About 30 minutes had passed, and I decided to take it off Do Not Disturb. I checked the group chat, and there were a lot of messages. Some 10 minutes into speaking in the group chat, someone called it. I was just expecting it to be a bunch of teenage girls and boys. No, actually, when I looked at who was calling, I could tell that wasn't a teenager, so I promptly declined. A few hours had passed and I got the notification that my friend Maddie had added me to another group chat called Burger Eaters, which I thought was odd. But okay. In this group chat, there were I think 98 people. Not even 20 minutes into messaging, some dude named Zyak, real name, sent a photo of his penis. And I recognized the name from the man who called the group chat. This prompted an hour-long breakdown. I'm a lesbian, and I find men utterly disgusting, and genuinely don't want to see a 40-year-old man's penis. After I finished crying, I texted Maddie and was furious. We texted for a while until she called me. I answered and was crying from the arguing. After like 40 seconds she hung up. Then her younger brother Matt, 15 years old male, still fake names, called me. He is very kind and is a good friend. He comforted me for about 10 minutes. I was sharing my screen when I was messaging his sister on Snapchat. She was deleting her messages. There was more arguments and yelling, but then we finally hit the rock. She threatened to KL herself again. I don't mean to sound insensitive, but holy shit, she does this every week. Even to people like me who have actually attempted and know what depression and suicidal thoughts are like. But that doesn't mean I didn't talk her out of it. We argued more and I apologized. I know it's been resolved, but there's just something nagging me about it, you know? It's completely understandable to feel upset about being added to inappropriate group chats and dealing with emotional manipulation. It's important to prioritize your own well-being and set boundaries with friends who make you feel uncomfortable or disregard your feelings. Am I the antagonist for suggesting my sibling rehome their dog that I encouraged them to adopt? I live with my son, small dog, and younger brother. My dog is well trained but does bark a lot when home alone. I thought getting a second dog might be a good thing and would help with the barking issue. So I sort of started instigating my brother to get his own dog. That way, if I didn't connect with the other dog, I wouldn't feel so bad since it's not actually my dog. I did offer help with the dog when needed. One day, my brother found a Chiweenie at the county shelter. It seemed a bit impulsive to go with the first dog he saw, and it didn't feel quite right how fast this was. But this was my idea, so okay. He's a cutie. But the Chiweenie is very territorial, so it's driving my dog crazy. He's not housebroken and marks a lot. He is reactive to people, dogs, and cars, which is scary because he bolts when doors open. He nips at people and our dog but is not overtly aggressive. We've been trying to train, but either he doesn't get it or refuses to listen. But in my honest opinion, the problem is not the dog. We've had the dog for 3 weeks, and my brother has done very little training. The dog needs to be let out every 2 hours until he's housebroken, but my brother will wait 4-6 hours, sometimes more. And because the Chiweenie marks a lot, he is actually in dog diapers nearly 24/7. My brother said he'd be home more but leaves for long chunks of time, often into the late evening. For example, yesterday he left at 3 p.m. and didn't get home until after 10. Since we have no idea when he is coming home, my son takes both dogs for walks. Since the Chiweenie is reactive, that's difficult. And we feed the Chiweenie. Over the last week, we have done this 5 out of 7 nights. The 2 nights he was home, he offered no help to walk or feed our dog in return. He walked and fed his dog only. Yes, we offered to help, but my son and I pretty much spend more time with the dog than he does. At the very least, I'd appreciate communication, not just assume we'll take care of his dog. That's not even the worst part. Shortly after my brother brought the Chiweenie home, the impatience and harsh discipline my brother has shown is worrying. Smacks are severe and frequent. He picks the dog up fully from the scruff often. When he bolted out one day, I saw my brother on all fours tackle the dog, give him a full-on spank, and lift him up by his scruff to bring him inside. 2 weeks in, my brother's solution to better deal with the dog: a shock collar. Yes, he nips and is a pain, but not overtly aggressive at all. To see this 2-pronged box attached to his neck is sad. We finally had a family meeting, and I apologized for instigating. But the right thing to do is take a step back and analyze if this situation is best for the dog. Yes, he's been difficult and clearly not gelling with the family, but it's only been 3 weeks, and this dog is in diapers and a shock collar. He said he's been thinking of getting a trainer. Now, he has yet to take this dog to the vet since brought home to get a proper evaluation. So I highly doubt he's actually going to get and pay for a trainer. He said he has no plans to give him up. I know I instigated this, but am I the asshole for suggesting he should consider rehoming? It sounds like your intentions were good in trying to address the barking issue, but the well-being and training of the dogs should be the top priority. And it seems like the current situation may not be the best for the Chiweenie. It's important to address these concerns and prioritize the dog's welfare, even if it means considering rehoming as a solution. Am I the antagonist for snapping at my music director? Hey everyone, I'm a college student, and this week is our finals week. I have 5 finals along with a jury, solo performance for the music faculty, and an ensemble concert last night. We're a non-traditional group due to our school size. To keep it brief, we were initially scheduled to perform on Friday, but the theater double booked with us for their play, so we had to switch to last night. My music director is an incredible person, but he receives a lot of criticism from students because he's so different from the director we had last year. I believe it has been a challenging transition for some students. I appreciate them both in unique ways and always try to show my gratitude for what he does for us as students. He even treated us to pizza last night so we didn't have to worry about dinner. Last night, our call time before the concert was set for 4 p.m. The concert was at 7 p.m. I spent the entire day studying for my first final exam, which wasn't as productive as I had hoped. My stress about the exam occupied a lot of my thoughts even during our rehearsal. The topic of teardown came up because the jury performances I mentioned earlier are in the morning, and we had a lot of equipment on stage for our concert. He mentioned staying after the concert or coming in early the next day to tear down, and I think I reacted poorly. I basically said, I've invested enough time into this already. It's tough for me being here at 4 today. He asked for clarification, and I simply stated that I couldn't help with teardown. He didn't address me further after that. Everyone decided on the timing for teardown. I stayed silent. The night continued, and nothing unusual occurred. We interacted just fine after that. I can't stop thinking about how my frustration came across. I could have simply mentioned that I need to study more, that I lack the time, but instead, I feel like I made it appear that our ensemble, which my professor has worked diligently on, doesn't matter to me. However, I truly don't have any more time to dedicate to the ensemble, and I don't intend to assist with teardown in the morning. He's the only music director I've had who insists on such early call times. We typically go through the beginnings of pieces and such. It's like a dress rehearsal, but it turns a 1-hour concert into a 4-hour commitment, plus any additional time needed earlier in the day. What do you think? Am I the asshole? Should I attempt to find him and apologize sometime this week? It sounds like you're juggling a lot with finals and performances, and it's understandable that you may have felt overwhelmed during the concert. However, communication is key, so reaching out to your music director to explain your situation and express your gratitude for his understanding could help clarify any misunderstandings and maintain a positive relationship. Balancing responsibilities can be tricky, but showing appreciation and open communication can go a long way in resolving any issues. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.